Hey everyone, welcome back to another CollectA review. Today we're taking a look at the new Brontosaurus prey. I ended up getting this gruesome looking figure from Minizoo. It retails for just over $10 and I'll leave a link to Minizoo down below in the description. This is why I love CollectA. They always give us unique figures and I just love their dead dinosaur range. This Brontosaurus is actually the fourth dinosaur carcass from CollectA so far. They are such neat little accessories. They add a lot of character to your dinosaur displays and they're excellent for dinosaur photography. And each one of these carcasses complement the existing figures in CollectA's lineup. So let's get this poor dead Bronto up on the turntable and take a closer look. And here is the Brontosaurus prey up on the turntable, and what a gruesome looking figure. I love all the gore CollectA pumped into this figure, and the death pose is definitely unique. Just look at that right arm just jutting out to the side. That means whenever this animal fell, it either severely broke that arm or horribly dislocated it, and it's just so gruesome looking. Just love all that carnage. There's so many bite marks all over this thing. It looks like multiple animals have preyed upon it, which would be the case in real life. Brontosaurs were huge animals, and a lot of predators would gather to pick apart this carcass that probably would last for weeks, maybe months. So let's just do a couple quick measurements on this poor dead Brontosaurus. If you measure this figure along the curve of the neck and curve of the tail, that would bring it to 13 inches long, and it's just about an inch high to the top of the back. So Brontosaurus in real life was a very large animal, 70 plus feet long. So with those measurements, I put this figure in the 165 scale range, but this will not scale as an adult Brontosaurus with any of the CollectA figures, so you can easily consider this poor fallen Bronto as a juvenile. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with that poor deceased head. Oh man, I really feel for this Brontosaurus. It just looks like it's in utter agony before it died. Right below the head, you have a nice chunk torn off the throat. You got some nice gory bits in there. You can see some nice blood painted around. You can actually see some bone in the esophagus. The eyes are painted in black, which is typical for CollectA. You have a little bit of red coloration around the eye. You know, the paint scheme is pretty much identical to the Brontosaurus that came out from CollectA the year before. You can see those peg-like teeth are nicely painted in white. You got this nice row of gray spikes that go all the way down to the very tip of the tail. You get some large osteoderms sculpted in there. I have my camera angled down because this is a very weird figure to review, so if this review looks a little weird to you, I'm struggling too. Going down to the base of the neck, you have a couple more bite marks with a lot of nice gore showing. The underside of the neck is painted a nice cream color, and then when you get down to the torso, that's where the real carnage begins. You can see bite marks taken out of the front leg. You got some bone exposed. The rib cage has been torn open. You can see some nice organs in there and blood pouring down. And then going down to the hind legs, some more bite marks, more bone exposed. Going down to the feet, you see the feet are nicely sculpted and correct for a sauropod. Same thing for the hind legs. Got another bite mark at the base of the tail, more bone and gore showing. Another bite mark on the tail. This poor Apatosaurus has been chewed to holy hell. And then going down to the tail, you can see the tail curves up, and same thing with the neck. That just shows that rigor mortis is setting in, and that's a really, really cool touch by CollectA. And now turn the figure over to the other side. This arm is just gnarly looking. I really like that. You know, I kind of would prefer if it was tucked underneath the body, like a more natural death pose, but man, that is just some gnarly, gnarly carnage that CollectA put onto this figure. Got another bite mark on the arm, and then turn the figure over. You can just see how freaking awful this fall that this Brontosaurus took when it finally went down. That is just wild looking. You know, all the folds and muscle, contour that it's laying on its side. So even the underneath of this figure is really, really well sculpted. You got those spikes that break into 3 rows at the base of the tail. Same thing like the alive Brontosaurus figure that came out from CollectA. So yeah, this thing is really, really, really neat looking. I absolutely love all these dead dinosaurs that CollectA's put out over the years. Moving on with comparisons, here it is with their previously released Brontosaurus. You can see both these figures are pretty much exactly the same size. The brown on this one's a little bit more reddish colored than the original alive one, but the color schemes are pretty much identical, and I do absolutely love this Brontosaurus. I hope someday CollectA decides to upgrade this to a deluxe scale. I'd love a larger version of this figure. It's one of my favorite sauropod figures in my collection. And next up, here it is with last year's Allosaurus. Don't worry, that big trademark stamp is very front heavy. It's keeping this figure balanced pretty well, and I think it looks absolutely great with this Brontosaurus prey. Just they scale pretty well with each other. Like I said, just consider this a juvenile Apatosaurus, which would probably be just enough for an adult Allosaurus to take down. An adult will probably just absolutely wreck an Allo. And here it is with some of the other figures that released alongside this Brontosaurus, the Neovenator. Here it is with the Camusaurus and the Megalosaurus. And speaking of sauropods, here it is with the stellar CollectA Mamenchisaurus. Like, this thing has grown on me so much. I absolutely love this thing. It absolutely just towers over this poor dead Brontosaurus. Definitely one of the best sauropod figures that's come out in a long time, this Mamenchisaurus. And lastly, let's compare it to the other dead dinosaurs from CollectA. Here it is with the Stegosaurus. And next, here it is with their Triceratops. And lastly, probably my favorite of the dead dinosaurs, because you never see dead carnivores. Here it is with their feathered T-Rex. So, final thoughts on this Brontosaurus prey. I absolutely love this thing. They're just so cool to have in your collection. Yeah, they're a little bit grisly and gruesome looking, but I'm okay with that. Life is not all sunshines and rainbows, and this shows the more darker side of nature, predator-prey relationship, and that's always cool to see represented. I wish more companies would take a chance on things like this because, me as a collector, I like adding variety to my collection, and these things are just perfect for that. The only other company I can think of that, makes dead dinosaur carcasses is Reborn. They have their Thanatosaurus and that dead Rex that came out, and I hope those sell well because I would like to see more companies take a chance on this stuff because I will definitely buy it. And like I said at the beginning of the review, you can pick this figure up from MiniZoo. Retails for just over $10. Link to their site is down below in the description. So that will do it for the review. Still waiting on some P&SO figures. Some of them should be here any day now. I have the Dino Hazard Irritator coming in. That one I'm really looking forward to. Some more Jurassic World stuff. So yeah, a lot of new stuff coming in the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for those reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and it's greatly appreciated. I'll see you guys for the next one.